On that sunny morning, the corridors of Beacon Technologies resonated with the hurried footsteps of Mary Tucker. With her immaculate uniform, she dedicated herself to maintaining cleanliness and order, a task she embraced with pride and diligence. It was then, as she turned a corner, that her heart skipped a beat upon encountering a figure from the past, Ryan Johnson, her ex-husband. Ryan, with his erect posture and a smug smile, exuded an air of superiority that filled the space between them. His eyes met Mary's, and a condescending smile formed on his lips. Ryan noticed his ex-wife's janitorial uniform. "Mary, I never imagined running into you here, let alone as a janitor," said Ryan, his voice tinged with disdain. "Seems like things didn't quite pan out the way you wanted, did they?" Mary, struggling to maintain her composure, replied firmly, "Ryan, each of us does what we can to survive. What brings you here?" "Oh, I'm here for an interview for the manager position," he revealed, puffing out his chest. "And believe me when I say that this position is practically mine already. It'll be interesting, don't you think? Just imagine, me as your boss. In fact, the first thing I'll do once I take over is ensure you find your way out of this company." Ryan's smile was a mix of arrogance and certainty, as if destiny had already sealed the deal in his favor. Mary felt a mixture of indignation and sadness, but she kept her head held high. "Ryan, the future is uncertain for all of us," she replied calmly, "and I firmly believe that each person reaps what they sow. Good luck with your interview." As Ryan continued to boast about his own accomplishments, Mary sank into a sea of memories, each one bringing forth the sacrifices she had made. She vividly remembered the days when the sun had barely risen on the horizon and she was already up, preparing for the first of her many jobs. The nights when she returned home, feet aching but heart full of hope, believing that all that effort would be worth it. "You know, Mary, I always knew I was destined for great things," Ryan said with an arrogant smile. "Now look at me, about to become a manager in this prestigious company." For a moment, Mary allowed herself to delve into the memories of those difficult days. "I remember every job I had, every penny I saved, all so you could have your dream education at Harvard," she murmured more to herself than to him. "And what did I get in return? Nothing but empty promises." She remembered the nights they planned the future together, a future that seemed as bright as the stars twinkling in the night sky. Ryan had always been ambitious, but Mary never imagined his ambition would lead him to abandon her as soon as he achieved his goal. "As soon as you got what you wanted, you left me for another," she said, her voice laden with profound sadness. "All those years of struggle and sacrifice, and for what? To be discarded as if nothing I did had any value." Mary's words carried the weight of an unspoken pain, a pain that Ryan seemed unable to comprehend or, worse, chose to ignore. "Well, Mary, we all make choices," Ryan replied, indifferent. "And I made mine." Mary looked at him, her eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and resignation. "Yes, Ryan, we all make choices, and I choose not to let the past define my future." With these words, she turned and walked away, leaving Ryan alone with his empty achievements and a victory that, deep down, he knew was as superficial as his understanding of the true value of things. In that corridor, illuminated by the cold fluorescent light, Mary faced Ryan, whose disdain seemed to try to diminish her with every word uttered. Yet she stood tall, a fortress of resilience amidst the storm of arrogance that was her ex-husband. "You can think whatever you want of me, Ryan," said Mary, her voice a mix of calmness and firmness. "But I believe in something greater. I believe that the universe has a way of balancing things out, of bringing justice to our situation." Ryan laughed, a sound that echoed through the empty corridor laden with sarcasm. "Justice, Mary? Do you really believe in that karma nonsense? Life is about taking what's yours, not waiting for the universe to hand it to you on a silver platter." Mary looked at him, her eyes not shining with tears, but with an inner strength that Ryan would never comprehend. "No, Ryan, it's not about taking, it's about deserving. And I work hard, endured more than you can imagine. Not for you to acknowledge me, but because it's the right thing to do. And yes, I believe that karma, or whatever you want to call it, will bring me better days. Not because I'm passively waiting, but because I'm fighting for them." She continued, each word imbued with her unwavering belief. "You may not believe in it, but I see life differently. I see beauty in struggle, honor in hard work, and justice in the end for those who persevere. The universe has a way of recognizing effort and integrity, and I'm willing to wait, to work, and to see where that takes me." Ryan, wordless, merely watched her. For a moment, the certainty in his eyes wavered, confronted by Mary's unyielding conviction. "You'll see," Ryan Mary concluded before turning to continue her work. "The universe has a plan for all of us, and I trust that for me it holds something much better than you could ever offer." She walked away, leaving Ryan alone with his thoughts and an uncomfortable feeling that perhaps Mary was right in that day. Mr. Luke's office, a spacious room with a stunning view of the city, was immersed in an atmosphere of tranquility, contrasting with the whirlwind of emotions Mary carried with her. Mr. Luke, a middle-aged man with a presence that commanded respect, yet also radiated a surprising amount of empathy, had observed from afar the tense interaction between Mary and Ryan. Something in Mary's resilient posture caught his attention, prompting him to summon her to his office. "Mary, please have a seat," he said, indicating the chair in front of his desk. "I couldn't help but notice your encounter with Mr. Ryan. Are you all right?" Mary, still processing the unexpected invitation to the boss's office, nodded. "Yes, Mr.
Luke, I'm fine.
Thank you for asking. Mr. Luke leaned forward, interlacing his fingers. "Mary, what I saw was more than just a simple argument. I saw determination and strength in you. Tell me what brought you here." Encouraged by the genuine curiosity in his voice, Mary shared her story, from the sacrifices made to support the household and finance Ryan's college education to being abandoned by him. She spoke of her temporary jobs and how, despite everything, managed to pay for her own college. In that elegantly adorned office where silence was only interrupted by the gentle ticking of an antique clock, Mr. Luke contemplated Mary with a look of admiration and respect. He had listened attentively to every word she said, absorbing not only the facts but also the emotion and determination that overflowed from her narrative. Mary in turn sat there, a mixture of nervousness and hope shining in her eyes. "No, Mary," began Mr. Luke, leaning back in his chair and intertwining his finger. "Story is living proof that true strength doesn't lie in circumstances but in how we face those circumstances." Mary listened, not daring to interrupt. "I've been observing you since you started working here," he continued. "Your work ethic, your dedication, and now, knowing your background and all you've been through, I'm more than convinced that you're the right person to take on a leadership position in this company." Mary felt her heart race, her hands trembling slightly with the magnitude of the moment. I don't know what to say, Mr. Luke. I'm honored," she managed to articulate, her voice choked with emotion. "There's no need to say anything now, Mr. Luke said with an encouraging smile. "Your journey here has already said everything that needed to be said. And as for Mr. Ryan," he paused, the smile fading, replaced by a more serious expression. "This will be a valuable lesson in humility, a lesson that the true value of a person lies not in titles or positions, but in character and the ability to overcome adversity." Mary nodded, understanding the depth of those words. "Therefore, Mr. Luke rose, extending his hand to Mary, who did the same, still incredulous. "From today onwards, you are the new manager of this company. Let's work together to ensure your transition into this new role is as smooth as possible." Both their hands met in a firm shake, sealing a new chapter in Mary's life, a chapter where her strength of will, competence, and above all, her incredible resilience would be recognized and valued. It was the beginning of an era of transformation not only for Mary, but for the entire company under her new leadership. The next day, Mary assumed the position of manager, and a new energy seemed to permeate the company's corridors. Her posture, though firm, was imbued with an aura of kindness and understanding that did not go unnoticed by her new subordinates. In her first meeting with the team, she shared her vision, not just for the department, but for each individual within it, I'm here today not only as your manager, but as someone who deeply believes in the potential of each of you, Mary began, her gaze sweeping across the room, meeting the eyes of each team member. My journey here hasn't been easy, but it taught me the value of resilience, compassion, and justice. It's these values that I want to bring to our team. She paused, allowing her words to resonate among those present. I want this to be an environment where everyone feels valued and heard, where hard work is recognized and challenges are faced together as a team. I believe that together we can achieve not only our professional goals, but also grow as individuals. One of the team members, visibly inspired, raised their hand. Mary, your story is truly inspiring. What would you say was your biggest lesson in this journey? Mary smiled, grateful for the question. I believe my biggest lesson was understanding that true leadership comes from the ability to put oneself in another's shoes, to understand their struggles and aspirations, and that ultimately kindness and empathy are as important as assertiveness and determination. The room erupted into a murmur of agreement and admiration. Mary had touched the hearts of her team, not only with her words, but with the sincerity and conviction with which she spoke them. In the days and weeks that followed, Mary worked tirelessly, not only to achieve targets and improve processes, but to build bridges between people, to create an environment where everyone felt part of something bigger. Her story of overcoming was no longer just an inspiring narrative. It became the foundation of a work culture that valued every contribution, every effort, transforming the workplace into a space of mutual growth and respect. Under her leadership, the company not only thrived in terms of results, but also became an example of how empathy and justice can transform the workplace, making Mary a true inspiration for all. Ryan, with heavy steps and a face filled with disbelief, crossed the corridor to Mary's new office. The plaque on the door, engraved with her name followed by the title manager, seemed like a direct blow to his ego. He knocked on the door with undue force, almost as if trying to knock it down with his frustration. Mary, sitting behind her new desk, calmly lifted her eyes to him. "Come in, Ryan," she said, her serene voice contrasting with the storm brewing in his expression. "Is this some kind of joke?" Ryan began, slamming the door behind him with a thud. "Since when were you? How did you get this?" Incredulity tinged each word as he gestured to the office, to her, to the world that suddenly seemed to have turned upside down. Mary took a deep breath, maintaining her composure. "It's not a joke, Ryan, and I got this through hard work and qualifications, something we all should do, but you were just a..." Ryan started but stopped, unable to finish the sentence without sinking further into his arrogance. "I was what, Ryan?" Mary challenged him, her patience starting to wear thin but still maintaining her dignity. "A janitor." "Yes, I was. But I never let that define my worth or my capabilities." Ryan shook his head, struggling to assimilate the situation. "This changes nothing. You can't be my boss. It's ridiculous. How was I hired as a janitor if I interviewed for a manager?" Mary stood up, her stature seeming to grow with the strength of her conviction. "Ryan, what's truly ridiculous is underestimating people based on their current positions. I'm your superior now, not out of revenge or irony, but because I've shown competence and leadership, and I hope you can respect that. If you truly want to work here." The room fell silent with Mary's words echoing off the walls. Ryan, finally realizing the magnitude of his mistake, lowered his gaze, defeated not just by the situation but by his own pettiness. "I hope we can work together professionally, Ryan. The past is past, and now we have bigger responsibilities," Mary concluded, offering not just a truce but also an opportunity for Ryan to learn and grow. Ryan, still struggling to accept the new reality, merely nodded before leaving the office, leaving Mary alone but unbeatable in her new position of power and respect. Ryan found himself in a dead end, each step echoing in the empty hallway as he made his way to the Human Resources Department. The irony of the situation was bitter, almost unbearable. Debts piled up like an insurmountable mountain. Each reminder, each notice was a blow that undermined his already shaken self-esteem. The only way out, the only available position, was the one he had, not too long ago, dismissed and ridiculed. Janitor. Upon entering the HR office, Ryan felt a lump form in his throat. The humiliation was palpable, almost as if he could touch it. I came to accept the janitor position," he said, his voice choked, trying to maintain a shred of dignity. The HR person, surprised by the turn of events, looked at him for a moment before responding. "I understand, Ryan. We'll process your documentation. It's a tough decision, but admirable to recognize the need to start over regardless of the position." Ryan forced a weak smile, the words sounding like faint consolation in the face of the reality he was facing. "I had no other choice," he murmured, more to himself than to the person in front of him. "The debts. I need to start somewhere, don't I?" "Exactly," replied the HR employee, offering him an encouraging smile. "And who knows? Maybe this is an opportunity to learn and grow in ways you never imagined." Ryan nodded, though the words sounded hollow in his ears. He knew the road ahead would be arduous, a journey of redemption and perhaps self-discovery. The job he had scorned when Mary held now became his lifeline, his only hope of income amidst the financial chaos his life had become. Exiting the HR office, Ryan carried with him not only the weight of his debts, but also the weight of reality. Life, so unpredictable, had given him a lesson in humility he would never forget. The next morning, the sun had barely risen on the horizon when Ryan, with slow and heavy steps, crossed the company's parking lot. Each step seemed to carry the weight of the world, a world he himself had built with his choices and arrogance. Now humiliated and without alternatives, he found himself forced to accept the janitorial job, the same position he had once ridiculed when occupied by Mary. Upon entering the building, the reality of his situation hit him with full force. The irony was cruel. He, who had dreamed of the manager position, now found himself in the lowest position in the company's hierarchy, under the leadership of Mary, the woman he had underestimated and scorned. "Ryan," Mary greeted him, her voice neutral but not devoid of compassion. "I see you've accepted the janitor position. It's an honest and necessary job. I hope you can find value in it." Ryan swallowed hard, Mary's words sounding like a reminder of his failures. I know I messed up, Mary, and I'm sorry for everything. Now I just want to try to make things right, start over, even if it's from here." Mary nodded, acknowledging the sincerity in his words. "We all deserve a second chance, Ryan, and perhaps this is your opportunity to see the world from a new perspective, to learn to value every job and every person regardless of their position." Ryan felt a mix of gratitude and shame. The reality of his past choices and the weight of his debts had led him to that moment, forcing him to confront life in a new light. Under Mary leadership, he would begin his journey of redemption, a journey to become a better person, more humble and understanding. "Thank you, Mary," he finally said. "I promise I'll do my best." Mary offered an encouraging smile. "That's all I ask for. Welcome to the team, Ryan." That day, Ryan began his janitorial work, each task, each cleaned corner, serving as a reminder of his failures, but also as a step towards his redemption. Under the leadership of the woman he had underestimated, he began to learn the true value of work, humility, and respect. As Mary solidified her leadership position, demonstrating competence and empathy for everyone in the company, Ryan embarked on his new journey as a janitor. The first lights of morning bathed the corridors with a soft glow as he pushed the cleaning cart, a tangible symbol of his downfall. Each space he cleaned, each residue he removed, was not just a physical task, but also a deep reflection on the cycle of his choices and actions that led him there. Ryan, in a moment of introspection, stopped in front of a window, watching the sunrise. "How did I come to this?" he murmured to himself, his voice laden with regret and a hint of admiration for Mary. "She had every reason to treat me with disdain, but instead, she chose to be the leader I never was." On one of those days, as Ryan was dedicated to cleaning one of the meeting rooms, Mary entered, her steps firm and confident. She paused for a moment, observing Ryan's work before approaching. "Ryan, I hope you're finding some peace, some learning in this new beginning," Mary said, her voice gentle yet firm. Ryan stood up, facing her. "Mary, I really am. All these years I thought a person's worth lay in their title, in their position. But now I see how wrong I was. True value lies in character, in the humanity we show to each other. And that I learned from you. Mary nodded, a gentle smile on her lips. You're starting to see the world in a different light, and that's a beginning. Keep reflecting. Keep learning. The irony of fate had been for Ryan a harsh but necessary lesson. Under Mary's leadership, he was beginning to understand the true value of respect and humility. Mary, in turn, proved herself superior not just in her life, her position, but in her character and humanity, leading not only with authority but with compassion and understanding, teaching Ryan and everyone in the company the true meaning of being a leader. Want access to more stories like this? Click the link in the pinned comment below and find out how. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and also subscribe to the channel to stay updated on all our stories. Until the next video. Thank you.